Hi again, welcome back. It's Laura at Hyperstamper. I've got my first Thanksgiving journal of the year. I'm only going to do 2, maybe 3 of these, but this is the first one and I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be putting this in my Etsy shop, hyperstamper.etsy.com. And a reminder, there's no tariffs on this if you live in the States. And for everyone, internationally and in Canada, I do not use Canada Postal Services. I do use Courier and USPS in the States. So it will get to you in lots of time. So this is an antique song sheet on here, and it's perfect on the first Thanksgiving day. And I've made this pocket out of vintage crochet doilies. And this here is a hard to find Thanksgiving postcard, and it's from 1950. And so what I did is I mounted it on some cardstock so that you could open it up and read the nice little Thanksgiving message inside. And there's the postal date there, 1915. I just think it's so precious. I love it. And on the inside here, I've chosen this large doily piece here because of the nice colors that remind me of fall colors. Let me move my pumpkins and my acorns here. There we go. And let's keep going. So we've got a 1904 English garden book page here. And then this is a lovely 55-year-old postcard, I believe. Yep, 55 years old. And that's just a beautiful autumn scene. And this here we have the sugar maple tree and also another fall item. And then this here is a vintage index card. And you chose that because it's got the beautiful orange Thanksgiving and fall colors there. And we've got a grandma up here. Maybe she's cooking her Thanksgiving dinner. This is just a very, very old poetry page here from pre-1910. And this is a vintage 1970s data entry card. And I chose that one because it is a nice brown autumn color. And then this is from the 50s, this sweet little page here. Apples, of course, also a big item at Thanksgiving, and the harvest there. So I just thought that was beautiful. And we've got some vintage needlepoint patterns here. And I chose the cover of this antique book and turned it into a journaling card. Sorry, it's a vintage book. And because it just screams Thanksgiving colors, right? And then down here is a vintage children's page with this scarecrow looking in the window of a pie shop. You have to have pie at Thanksgiving. I think I like the pie part of Thanksgiving more than the turkey part. This is a 1906 book on apples. And this is the little apple tree. This is another vintage Trees of America page here. And we've got the acorns and the oak leaf. And then this here is a 1937 5-year diary page. And the reason I chose this date is this year, I believe this year it falls on November 26th in America, and next year it's November 27th. So it's kind of fun. And then you can do 5 years in it if you want and keep it going. Here we go here. And over here, this is just a fun piece. It's not Thanksgiving themed, but it's just a really cool 1890s clock watchman's dial insert. And then these are the fall colors of these probe cards from the 1960s. I loved that game. Gosh, I think that would be a fun game to bring back. And there is a vintage recipe card. And here is a vintage recipe. And we've got pumpkin pie on there. Somebody stuck that in, which I just think is wonderful. We've got pie crust up here. Just really cool. I love those kinds of homemade scrapbooks and recipe books. A fun cluster up here, but look at this one. Here is another Thanksgiving postcard. Even though it's not the Thanksgiving colors, it's lovely, and it is from 1923. We've got the little message there, and this is, it's so super old. You can even see the postmark coming through the paper, the postcard. And on this side, I chose this little image here from 1956 from Up One Pair of Stairs in the My Book House series, and added antique paper on the back. We've got a little boy feeding his turkey there. And then over here, I just like this because it looks like a fall scene. This came out of a 1930s book, a Story a Day book. And we've got the Two Pilgrim Children story there and the Tea Party story on the back. So there we go, Thanksgiving story from a children's book. And then this here In this pocket is a poem about November, which is when the American Thanksgiving is. I'm going to put that back in there. And then this is a great 1959 page here. This lady is peeling apples. Maybe she's going to make a pie for Thanksgiving. And then over here we've got that beautiful cornucopia down there with all the harvest vegetables in it. And nice children's book page here. And this I love. This is a little story about Thanksgiving from the 1930s. Look at the colors on that, both front and back. Very sweet. This is a vintage ledger page. And then in this little secret pocket here, I've got another Thanksgiving page. And this one is from the 1940s. And we've got a poem on this side by A.A. Milne, who is the author, of course, of, you guessed it, Winnie the Pooh. And then over here is a poem about Thanksgiving. So I love it. Love it. And then, of course, picture without words, it's called. No kidding. He's trying to catch this turkey. And then over here, this one is a 1938 page here, the story of a sower. And then Thanksgiving morning poem there. And I chose this children's book page because he's eating this corn, which reminds me of Thanksgiving. Oh, I know that's silly, but I love it. And just a really old 1890s book page there. And then we have a fun with Dick and Jane. They are going to visit their grandparents out in the country, and they get to bring home some little chickens. And this is a 1958 postcard. I'm turned into a pocket. And then I love this. It's the Quaker bonnets. And that also reminds me of Thanksgiving. Vintage paper on the back of that one. And this is a 1940s theater arts magazine page. And then this is actually a fall picture. Late fall, as you can see, the leaves are already down, but it's of an old barn, and I just love it. And this is from actually the late 1960s. Color film was just making an appearance as a household kind of thing. And here's another one of these great 1959 pages, Thanksgiving at Home. She's cooking her pies. And then this is all about the violin. And I chose this little book page here to make into a pocket because it says The Little Nut, which is me. I'm a little nut. I'm a big nut. And then this is just a really old 1904 postcard. I think it's just beautiful. It's out in the country. And if it were colored, I would say that would have fall colors. And this crochet book from the 1950s that Lorna Anderson owned. It's got this harvest table arrangement there. So I thought that was great. And yeah, even the plates have like the wheat sheets on them. Vintage patterns here. This is early 1900s, just a lovely little plate. And then this is a vintage from my spice collection, spice card collection. And this one is the pumpkin pie spice. Pretty cool. And then we've got another squirrel down here with his acorns. And this came from a 1950s recipe book, Betty Crocker. And this is almond stuffing for turkey. And you know what? Give it a try. Pineapple stuffing, Nito Pepito. I think that would be fun to try. And this isn't the rest of that fun with Dick and Jane. There they are, looking at their little baby chicks. And here is a, looks to me like a pilgrim. I'm probably wrong, but it does look like a pilgrim. And then this here is a family giving thanks at Thanksgiving. There's another cornucopia there. There's just some really cool teacher guidelines on the other side. Beautiful monarch page from a vintage nature book. And then we have a little poem here about a cat and a mouse. Another vintage ledger sheet. And this here is so cool. This is from the 1800s, 1890s. And I chose it because it has poultry seasoning. Stickney and Poor's spiced poultry seasoning. That does not sound appetizing. And then candy, Lennox chocolates. Isn't that wonderful? And then coffee advertisement on the other side. And that went in here. So that's really cool. This is from 1925. You can see this little dwarf in the forest here. I just think that is so beautiful. And then just this lovely leaves falling from the tree here, which reminds me of fall as well. And this, oh wait, down here, like it says table talk, and because you know, the Thanksgiving table. And then this is an early 1920s image here. And these girls are getting Thanksgiving dinner ready. That's my story for that one. And then I chose this 1950s postcard here with the birds on it. I have this whole collection. I'm very excited. Yellow warbler, but it looks to me like they've got some fall colors in the leaves there. Isn't that beautiful? And then that brings us to the end. On the back page here, I want to cover up some scribbles. So I added this 1927 catalog page because it has these two turkey platters here. So I hope you love it as much as I loved making it. Hyperstamper.etsy.com. Don't forget to subscribe, no tariffs, and come back soon. Bye for now.